in Madrid and you booked these flights, when you booked the flight, was it just normal ticket confirmation?
Yes.
Anything extra that you had to do that they sent you?
No. Actually, the only thing that was different was that I wasn't allowed to do web check-in because they waited until the very last minute to set your seating to make sure that you have the right social distancing.
That's pretty nice.
That was nice. That was from Madrid to Mexico City.
Mm-hmm.
But when I arrived to Mexico City, when I was making the line to get into the plane, they started asking for a printed health certificate, which I never, I didn't know I had to print it. So I approached the staff and I was like, guys, I never received like an email saying that I need to print anything regarding the health certificate. And they said, where are you flying from? And I said, well, I just landed from Spain, which would be worse because Spain has a very high number of cases. And they were like, oh no, if you're coming from Spain, that's totally fine. You don't need to give it to us.
So this is in Mexico.
That was it. This was to take the plane from Mexico City to Cancun.
Okay.
And in that plane, they didn't respect the social distancing.
So the plane was full, pretty much.
It was crowded. Yes, it was very surprising for me. It wasn't full, probably 100%, but they, there were many people sitting right next to each other when they shouldn't have. And they, and they didn't have any limitations like the hand luggage, like you're having with Turkish Airlines.
So when you flew from Madrid, did they, you check in, and I guess, do you have a backpack or some handbag or something? No.
Big luggage. No, wait. I had my regular luggage, my wheel thingy.
Okay.
And I had my backpack for my laptop, but I had no issues anywhere.
So you could just put it in the overhead and it was totally fine.
Yeah.
Interesting. And the plane was full or half full? I mean, I saw the airport. The airport, like for people listening, was like abandoned. I mean, it looked like it just abandoned. I mean, you could have I wish you had, I was just thinking if you had a skateboard or a bike or something, like you just ride around, it'd be so much fun.
You could do anything in there. It was dead. The airport was, it was, I liked it though. It was silent. It was silent. I love airports because I love people watching, but I really enjoyed to have a very empty airport as well. And we were only like in Madrid's airport, which is a huge airport. We were probably only around, I'm gonna say 100 and something people in there, plus the staff, which were very, very little. So yeah, it was very empty.
Wow. And so
all the shops were closed, so forget about any snacks or any coffee or anything.
One thing I've noticed in my travels is when I go through security, if the line is not very busy, they spend extra time on searching my stuff. I travel with a lot of electronics and I look like me, and so in a lot of places that gets extra attention. But when they have the time, I feel like, they're like, oh, well, we might as well check. We're not in a rush.
Productive.
Yeah. I mean, did you have that at all? You must have been the only person in the security line.
I was, but no, they were okay. I think in which of the airports? No, I think it was in Mexico airport where they actually scan your body in one of the big machines. And I usually don't wear any jewelry, and for some reason something came in this area of the in the machine. So they decided to scan me a little bit extra in my body, but it took 15 extra seconds because I could show them that I literally had nothing in there. So yeah.
What was the meal on the Madrid to Mexico flight like? Was it different at all, the process of, getting food? Or
it's funny that you mention it, because the people mentioning the speaker, they apologized to let us know that the food was going to be different than what they usually serve, but really you couldn't tell the difference.
What was different about it?
I don't know. They just, they mentioned it out loud in the speaker, and that was it. Because, they still gave you the drinks. Probably the only thing that I noticed differently is that they didn't ask you, like usually you get to choose between two things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they usually say, I don't know, pasta or chicken, and this time they just, gave you the pasta, and that was it. If you like it, good, and if you don't like it, that's your problem.
Have you flown that airline before?
Yes.
Was the food better now or worse, or was it just always terrible, or always it's just airplane food, kind of?
Airplane food, Yeah. I love pasta, and they gave me pasta, so I'm an easy date.
And the flight attendants are wearing gloves and masks, I'm guessing, or?
Yes, poor guys.
Yeah.
They were wearing the transparent, like plastic thingy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the face mask and the gloves. And after my ears started hurting, I actually spoke to one of the flight attendants, and I was like, I feel like complaining, but I'm just doing this today. So I really respect you guys, because I am aware that you're probably doing this every day, for, I don't know, 8-10 hours a day. And the lady was like, yeah. So I really respect anyone working right now and having to wear the face mask, full time. I admire you, I respect you, and yeah.
So the flight attendants have a mask, and this, I haven't seen on the news this really elsewhere, but here it actually is pretty popular. So people, instead of wearing like a mask around their mouth and nose, like a mask, they wear like this plastic, it almost looks like a shield around their face. Mm-hmm. It's kind of weird, because a lot of them are decorated here, and I don't know why. They have like glitter and like sparkles around the top and stuff. It's kind of weird looking, but that's really popular. So when the corona first was happening here, people were doing like paper mask on their face and plastic mask. Did the flight attendants do the double, or were they just using the plastic clear face mask?
The plastic clear face mask and the regular face mask, disposable one.
So they had both?
Yep.
Oh,
they
wow.
had both. Mm-hmm.
And I guess aside from the meal, was anything else different about your flight?
Well, I had the extra space, right? Because they respected the social distancing, so that was nice. Yeah.
Sweet. And then, so the plane was half full, basically, or was it even less full?
Probably, I would say probably around 40%. The long one, the one from Madrid to Mexico City. The one from Mexico City to Cancun was definitely fuller than that.
And what was the staff? How was their mood, from what you could tell behind the mask? Same, different?
Same, like very, very professional. Very professional. I overheard some of the flight attendants saying that they were heading to a different country to get more supplies. So I think many flight attendants and many pilots actually, even though there weren't very many commercial flights available, they were still flying to different countries to get medical supplies or to get any other supplies that were needed. So they kept working.
And what about passengers? people are usually crabby at airports. So it depends. Some are like happy and some are business, like they're going to a meeting, you can clearly tell. And then there are just people that are in a really good mood because they're going somewhere. Other people are like the flip side of that, like kind of sad that their vacation is over. There's the business people, and then there's just the people that like are just in a bad mood the whole time. How was it like, with masks and gloves and empty airport?
You know what? I really didn't feel many people stressed out. I think that the people that struggled the most were the ones with children. For example, the people with babies, I mean, the babies cannot wear face mask. Mm-hmm. So those parents, and I completely understand them, are a little bit more paranoid. And, like at some point in the airport, in Madrid's airport, I put my luggage, my backpack down to remove my jumper. Mm-hmm. And I was in a pretty decent distance from this family that had a newborn baby. And the guy, very seriously, he was like, please just get farther from us because we have the baby and he's not wearing any face mask. And I was like, yes, just give me 1 second. I'm just going to remove my jumper. That's it. And I could tell that they were stressed, but of course, having a baby, it's already a big job. So having a baby during this coronavirus, I understand that it's more challenging, and I could understand why they were a little bit not in the friendliest mood. And also, when I also met this lady in Madrid's airport, and she was bringing her 5-year-old son to Mexico, and she was exhausted. I mean, just asking for her kid to keep the mask on because he would keep removing it, of course. And he would just keep forgetting about social distancing. So he would come and hug me and, and it was really challenging. And then we had this 5-hour wait in Mexico City's airport, both of us, because our plane landed at 3:30 in the morning and our flight was at 8 in the morning. So it was almost 5 hours, 4 hours and a half. So I felt really bad for her. So I stayed with them and I tried to help her entertain her son, like playing games and, drawing and stuff like that. But you could tell she was absolutely exhausted of, being taken care of her son during these times.